Hello, it is 6 in the evening on the 4th of July 2012, 97 degrees in South Austin. This is my second video blog. Things look quite a bit different than they did a week and a half ago, and I think everything is kind of getting tired of the heat and the lack of rain. Although we did get 3/10 of an inch of rain all in one spell. That's the most we've had at once since mid-May. And wasn't enough to extend the life of what used to be in this bed. The black-eyed peas were harvested, so now this is potentially going to have something else growing in it later. But the black-eyed peas were very prolific, yet when I took them out of their pods, there were really only like maybe 4 times as many individual peas as the number that I had sown in the first place. And considering the amount of watering I had to do and the amount of labor it was to harvest them and get them out of the pods, kind of seems like it's not worth it. Also considering they're not my favorite kind of food. This bed has some shadows at this hour. The volunteer tomatoes from long ago are very big, much bigger than the cages that I was able to get around them and falling over. There are a few tiny little Roma tomatoes growing on them, but you can even tell there's some sign of some damage on it. I don't know why it's not focusing, and I also don't know why I can't seem to get any tomatoes that'll grow without damage. Now this one has a bit of an answer. In the shadow on the tomato is a very skinny little stink bug. They leave those tiny little black dots on the outside. They keep it from ripening evenly and pretty much ruin the thing. So I was excited about these plants. Now I'm kind of frustrated with them. And the transplants in this bed are getting bigger. This one is very wilty. The next one looks like it's gonna be a healthier pepper. And lots of similar transplants that have gotten much bigger, pretty healthy in this bed. Whoa, that one's tall. This one is having some wilting, but it's also having a flower, so that gives me some hope. These were peppers that were started from seed inside months ago. And that tomato plant there is another volunteer that has a bunch of blossoms. Hopefully this will be productive, but it's not really mounting any veggies at this heat. Some more tomatoes. I took out the coriander and cilantro from here. I gave a little more space to the squash next door. This stuff does not like the heat, but I do have one little one growing in there. That's about the size of a thumb. And on this next plant, there are a few prospects. Down the row, though, only one remaining little vine of cucumber. The one that was there completely died. The other one that was in this mound completely died. And then behind me, I don't know if I put this in my last video blog, there were a few transplanted peppers here that totally didn't make it. But this one here is hanging in there, not getting very tall. It's about 6 inches tall. The okra in the other half of this bed are getting bigger. Now they're giving me a little more hope that they'll turn into something. And in the next bed, here's what the basil looks like right now. Everything has gone to flower, but it's still okay to eat the leaves. The eggplant had an eggplant on it. It was totally eaten up by aphids and by ants. Ants seem to be getting worse right now. Here is the one prospective eggplant here. Doesn't seem to want to kind of open up, but it does look like it has some bug damage on the outside of it. Fingers crossed. The pepper transplants here that were some of the first things I ever bought from a store to transplant rather than just starting from seed are not only falling over, they're not giving any fruits, and this one is totally wilty. That one's pretty wilty. Tomatoes that I started from seeds are pretty wilty. These got a lot of water, hand watered earlier this week by me, but not doing well. Speaking of not doing well, corn. I think these things are pretty much dead. Tried to water them a lot. 2 of these have totally fallen over. You see my shadow. And I did get tiny little ears from here and from here. And they had some kernels of corn on the cob that looked kind of dried, but I ate a few fresh and they're okay. Here is what the next one has. This is pretty small. You can see the size of my fingers compared to that. And the other ones have similar. I think the best one is this one right here, which is going to be a 4-inch long head ear. And in the bed over here with some transplants. I don't even remember if these were in my last video. That's a tomato that had been in a pot for months and months from my February seed starts inside. It's not really taking to the transplanting, but it also isn't really dying. And same can be said for the rest of these. This tomato does seem to be doing pretty well. So right now, overall, not very much activity in the garden. It's just too hot. Birds and bugs seem to be getting the better of me.